The Everglades have been on our bucket list just about forever, especially the intricate maze of mangrove keys and shallow bays up in the northwestern portion of the park, the 10,000 Islands. And in this video, that's exactly where we're headed. After a few days on the road, we spent the last night before we launched in a comfortable little trailer on Chokoloskee Island. The trailer had air conditioning to keep us cool, a fridge to keep the beers cool, and a patio to do the final check of our gear on. What more do you need? We even managed to do a little exploring and wet a line or two that afternoon. That evening, then, we walked over to check out the put-in at the northeast end of the island. We'd be launching from there the following morning. We were basically going to do a big clockwise loop. First heading northeast up the Turner River, then turning southeast across Mud Bay and the two cross bays on a journey down to the Lopez River and Crooked Creek Chickee, where we'd spend the first night. The second day, we'd continue southeast across a whole mess of big open bays, one after the other. These would include Sunday Bay, Oyster Bay, Huston Bay, and Last Huston Bay. After that, we'd make a hard left up into the beautiful confines of Sweetwater Bay and our home for the night, the Sweetwater Bay Chickee. The first half of the third day, we'd spend floating along the mangroves on the wide, slow Chatham River on our way out to the open Gulf. When we hit the Gulf, we'd turn northwest and paddle up along the coast for 2 or 3 miles before doglegging west for a final couple of miles out to Pavilion Key. The last bit was probably the most interesting stretch of the trip in a canoe. With steady 15 to 20 knot winds on the beam, the waves were never particularly threatening, but they did require some solid paddling and well-timed brace strokes to hold a bearing and stay relatively stable. We'd originally planned on a 4th night out on Jewel Key, but a change in the weather forecast calling for substantially higher winds blowing in off the Gulf, especially with a canoe in the party, left us to kind of rethink that. A local guide actually stopped us at one point and asked, "You guys aren't planning on still being out tomorrow, are you?" We ended up cutting the trip a night short and paddled all the way back to Chokoloskee Island on that 4th afternoon.
Day one, it's almost 11:20. Low tide's at 11:51, so we're heading out right at low tide. Hopefully catch a little bit of the tide coming in as we go into First Bay. We're staying at, what's the name of the Chickee we're staying at? Crooked Creek Chickee, 8-mile paddle.
All right, this is the put-in, Chokoloskee Island. It's real now. See y'all in it. All right, we just started the trip. We've seen some dolphin, lots of birds. It's really calm. The water is. We're kind of hiding behind these mangroves here. But so far it's not bad. We have the wind in our backs. All right, here's my office for the day. Get the maps out. Here we are, right at the mouth of Mud Bay. Having a little snack break.
And that's when things got a little interesting.
Barreling into the wind. Brent couldn't get out of this, so we're trying a different technique. Wind's blowing at a good sustained 15, I would say. Waves aren't big, it's just tide's moving in. Battling wind and tide.
across 4 bays.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting some killer headwinds, some killer crosswinds, especially out on the bays. Seen some dolphins, seen some ibis, osprey, swallows, maybe a kingfisher, maybe. Still no sign of alligators or crocs or any other sort of reptilians yet.
Here we are, rounding the bend to our campsite. Trip report day 1. The winds have been kind of fierce.
Next time you're out paddling, imagine getting out of and into your kayak from a ladder. Now imagine that there are alligators in the water. Good fun. That said, whiling away a few hours on a chickie with a line in the water and a breeze rustling the leaves isn't the worst way to spend an afternoon. Add a tin cup full of wine, and it's not a bad way to spend a fair fraction of the evening either.
Morning. We're about to head out Crooked Creek Chickie. We're gonna head up Crooked Creek. It was a pleasant night. Had a few bugs buzz us last night. Rain came down pretty hard in sections, but we were pretty toasty, and it was actually hot. Didn't even get my sleep bag last night. I used it as a pillow. But very balmy, muggy, just as expected. So we're heading out. We have about roughly 9.5 miles today, and we're hoping that we don't get bad wind like we had yesterday, but that's just the nature of the beast, really. So, and we're off. To hit all the open water, so the next few hours are going to be probably one of our larger challenges of the trip. A bit of sprinkles, but nothing yet. We just crossed last tested bay. We had following seas the whole way. Light wind. It was actually not bad at all. Now we're headed up to Sweetwater. We're going to make the turn. Got about a mile to get to Sweetwater Chickie. It's really pretty back here. sweetwater chickie. Just us, the birds and the gators.
Remember that bit about getting out of your kayak with some scaly friends around? Oh yeah.
Chickie number 2, the sweetwater chickie. Here we are, just hanging out. Got here early. We had a pretty easy paddle. Not bad. We're just chilling. Looks like some weather might be moving in. Watching the alligator. Here's our neighbor. We call him Bert. About Bert.
He kept us company from the moment we got here. As the welcoming committee, I came up and he was on the left side of the chickie, slowly swimming to the right, and I came around the right side of the chickie. He came right towards me. He was very unafraid. I pulled around the side and got out, and he was in front of the chickie as y'all were approaching. And when we got set up here, he circled us a bunch, and then he dove under, and he would wait right under the water. We could see him sitting down there at the bottom. And then anytime I would fish, he would slowly make his way over to where I was fishing. And then I would have to switch sides, and then he would work his way around again. And whenever we would cook, he would come right up to the chickie, see what we were doing, and then dive under, and then pop out somewhere else. And we heard him at night too, surfacing and going down. Kept us company the whole time.
This is it. We're done with the chickies. We're heading out to the Gulf of Mexico now to Pavilion Key. Last night was a pretty good night. Quiet. Heading out. Okay, we just left Sweetwater and we're heading into the Chatham River. We'll be on this river for probably about 3-4 miles. It's pretty protected. It's had a little bit of headwind coming off Sweetwater, but it felt really nice. Oh yeah, this is sweet. So Brett and I decided to take the mangrove route, hugging the side of the Chatham River. We got a nice little shady paddle. Hopefully we'll have this shade most of the morning. Broke out of all of the islands and we hit the Gulf of Mexico. We're gonna stop for a few minutes and check the wind situation out and figure out how we're gonna make make it to Pavilion Key. So far, wind has been moderate. We've had a nice, we rolled out with the tide. So we've got a really good pace coming out of the Chatham River. What's the matter? This doesn't bode well. We hit solid ground and the gnats are on us immediately. It just doesn't bode well for camping this evening. Hey, we're on our last push to Pavilion Key. Figuring out where we were. We've stopped. We're actually really close to where we wanted to be. But you see a cut 2 islands right now, and Pavilion Key, Camp 3 should be just beyond that. Let's say we have about a little over a mile left to paddle. Alright, here we are, Pavilion Key, the furthest key out in 10,000 Islands National Park. There's people out here with us. There's a tour group and a boat just pulled up, but for the most part we got here early and it was real quiet, nice beachfront property. Sunshade action going on. Cody's been fishing, he's caught a lot of fish.
This is quite a haul to pull in. Yeah, it's got teeth like all hell.
Yeah, it's a trout. So if you look behind me, there's our setup. We have a little shelter we built from the sun. Lots of birds out here, lots of fish. It's really pretty.
We'd paddled the barrier islands off the coast of Mississippi and Alabama before on a couple of previous trips, but this was the first time we'd camped on an island where you couldn't see a single artificial light anywhere on the horizon at night. Nothing but stars. Pretty amazing.
Alright, we're crossing the bay from Pavilion Key. Light shot, trying to beat the wind. 9 a.m. Good morning. Alright, we left Pavilion Key 9 a.m. Tried to get across before the winds started kicking up. Now we are on our way to Chokoloskee. We got a nice weather report from Forest Rangers. The weather's going to be like, it looks like tomorrow, it's going to go south really quick around noon. So we're going to push for Chokoloskee tonight to camp at our last spot. Looks like we're going to make it there really early. This shows you how quickly the seas can change. This is nearly about 10 minutes from the last time I rolled the tape. We're to the opening of the Gulf, crossing a main channel, and all of a sudden the winds just start picking up. That's gravity there. Tomorrow it's going to go downhill, so once again, we're cutting this trip short. 4 days in the Everglades is good. All in all, we may have lost a mile out of the entire trip, but we gotta do things safe, gotta make good decisions, and being that we got a canoe with us, that it's not conducive for these environments, this environment, that we just decided to head on in and call it a trip. But we still have about 5 miles to go. We're going to take a interesting route through 10,000 islands. We're basically going to follow the GPS. Alright, straight ahead, Chokoloskee Island. We did it. We're coming to a close of Everglades 2021 10,000 Islands trip. Even though we cut it a day short, we accomplished everything that we needed to do to see this area. And we got to see a little bit different part of it. Good fun, that last section. Maybe not in a canoe, but it's fun, a kayak. The end of the journey. Back to where we started 4 days ago. Drifting. I'm not pulling you in at this point. You're on your own. Back to civilization. What? That was fun.